Hey guys, how's it going? I want to bring you guys through the potager. There's lots of good things happening in there now. The cut flower garden looks amazing. I've got some plants that are done. I've had a groundhog in there. That's what's been eating my stuff. So I know that there's been a chipmunk. I know that there's been a rabbit, but I've also got a groundhog. And you know, that's just a part of gardening. But anyway, I am rehabbing one of the raised beds. I'll kind of quickly show you. There's not really too much to see there, but the cut flower garden portion of the potager looks spectacular. There's so much to show you. I'm going to show you the garden that sits just outside, as well as the raised garden beds inside. So the last time we were here, I told you guys that we had all kinds of pachysandra and stuff in here, and we ripped it all out so that I could plant, what else? Flowers. I do eventually want to make this really more shrubs and perennials with a little bit of annuals, but it really wasn't in our budget this year. I had so many seed starts, so I just really made this more of, you know, part of my cut flower garden. So just to kind of show you what's in here, that is a volunteer sunflower, by the way. I didn't plant it. It's still here. It's still hanging out. I do need to cut the head off though and harvest the seeds so we can eat them and I can reuse them next year. I've got some scabiosa here that's seen better days. I've been cutting it. I've been using some of the seed heads in arrangements, and I'm trying to actually save some of the seeds for next year. Ageratum, love ageratum. I actually haven't cut it in a little while. We were away for a few days, but I love it. This is like my new found favorite flower because I've never actually grown it before all these years, and I've never grown ageratum, and this is the first year that I did. I bought some from the nursery in flats. I've also started some from seed which are these I started from seed, and I gotta tell you, I would start them from seed again instead of buying them in flats. The ones in flats are a little bit shorter and a little more compact. These are taller and much better for drying and arrangements. Over there, I've got some Sedum Autumn Joy, one of my favorite flowers. I talk about it all the time. I have shared a video on this already. I'll kind of tag it here in the video if you want to check out why I love it so much, but it's one of my favorite easy perennials to grow that is like no fail, and you just get so much bang out of your buck with it. Love Sedum Autumn Joy. Hard to believe, but my Moonbeam Coreopsis is still blooming. I've never seen it bloom this long in my garden, and yet here it is. Really thrilled with it. I've got some Status here. I've grown Status before. I don't really love to grow it, and I need to remind myself that I don't love to grow it, so I don't start it from seed again next year. I'm just not a fan. I mean, I know a lot of people love it, and it makes great bouquet filler, but it's just not for me. Got a bunch of zinnias here, a lot of different varieties. I've got a few Queenie Limes, Bennery's Giant Wine, Uproar Rose, a few of Florets, and they're doing amazing. We are starting to get some powdery mildew. It's the end of the season here. There's really not much you can do about it. It's, you know, we're getting a lot cooler nights and the warm days. It's just, you know, signaling the end of the season for them, unfortunately. I could sit here and try to prolong it with neem oil, but to be honest with you, I'm not doing it on all of my gardens, and it's fine. I'm like a roll with the season kind of gal, and it just means that fall is on the way. So for as long as those flowers look good, they will be staying in the beds, and then I'll just completely remove them. And I've got my Limelight Hydrangea. I actually planted this when we first moved in. I love it. It's gotten a little bit bigger. Deer do eat Limelight hydrangeas. They eat all hydrangeas, really, but I have to spray mine or they will decimate them. So I do come out here and spray these like once a month so that the deer completely leave them alone. And I'm actually going to come out, I think, and harvest a few flowers. Got my sunflowers over there. You know, I got to tell you, every year I plant sunflowers, and I've had luck with them like once every few years, because every time I plant them, I think like a chipmunk gets to it or something and eats it all down. This year, I planted them all along this little area and nothing bothered them. I'm so excited, nothing bothered them. So I've got these beautiful sunflowers and they've been great for cutting. And I gotta tell you, even when I don't get to them and you just have these like really cool heads, I still use them in bouquets. They add so much texture and they're so beautiful. I've got another hydrangea tree over there, hydrangea paniculata. I don't know the variety. I would say it's a limelight, but I really don't know for sure because I didn't plant it. This one I did plant, so I can tell you it is a limelight hydrangea. So I don't know if I've actually mentioned this lately, so if you're new here, you might find this interesting. When we moved here, the former homeowner had created a whole bunch of tree sculptures. I mean, he didn't do it himself, but he like commissioned someone to carve these from trees. So in this garden, we've got a chain link, and then it's actually like broken at the top. There's a light actually on the top there. And then this anchor at the bottom. And I have to say that I love it in this garden with all the flowers around it. It looks so much better than with just like a bunch of Pachysandra. I don't know, maybe it's just personal preference, but neat little fun fact about my garden. There's a bunch of these little cool sculptures and statues here, and that just happens to be one of them. So here I've got some helianthus. I believe it is Sun Credibles by Proven Winners. I've got some straw flowers, and on this side of the bed, I have more of Florette's flowers. I mean, I've got Precious Metals, and I know I've got Dawn Creek Blush. Really, really beautiful. And I gotta tell you, I love this angle. Isn't that so pretty? I mean, I kind of wish that heavy rains that we had a couple of weeks ago didn't like totally pummel my hydrangeas, but they did, and you know, it just kind of happens. But it's okay. It's all right. It's part of gardening. It's part of gardening. I've got my planters here. They're still doing okay with annuals. Really, the grass has totally taken over, so I'm probably going to be pulling all of these. Maybe I'll put some pansies or something around it when I get a chance. I don't know. But this is the cut flower side of the garden. Isn't it amazing? It looks so pretty right now. Now I do have another raised bed here that has tomatoes and some peppers and basil and stuff like that, and that's still doing pretty well. I did have a zucchini at the other end, but I just had to pull it because it was totally done for the season. But look, this is like, you know, this is the pro of the garden, right? This is the side that I'm loving right now. Ready? This is like not looking so good, right? It's not looking so good. So not only have I had something in the garden, so like the cucumbers are done, I got to pull them. I mean, you could see, I think this is groundhog. I really think the groundhog was in here eating my plants. So I don't know, I might have to, maybe I'll cut it down and see if it like bushes out again. Anyway, I've got some parsley in here that I've kind of like, some of it I've let go to flower. We still harvest it. I've got chives, I've got some other herbs, and a sunflower that's still kind of kicking it over there. This side, I have some snapdragons. I had all kinds of celosias and sweet peas and zinnias, and the rabbit, the groundhog, whoever it was, just ate them to a nub. So the zinnias did happen to survive, although as you can see, they really are starting to get that powdery mildew on them. They're not all bad, but I mean, what are you gonna do? It's just part of the season, but the flowers still look pretty good. So until they don't look good anymore and I can't really cut them anymore, then then that'll be it. But I clean my pruners and my snips before I move between plants, because you don't wanna, transfer any problems in between plants when you're cutting. So always make sure you're sterilizing your pruners and your snips. I've got a couple of different cosmos in here. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Tithonia over there leading into the pond garden. So given we're kind of done with this side of the garden, let's focus a little bit more on what looks good, because it really does look good. These are my celosias. Now, I planted a bunch of different ones from Florette. I know I've got antique rose, I think I've got vintage rose, I've got like all different kinds in here. And I was really good about labeling them. And then the groundhog or the bunny, one of those little critters, came in and ate a few to a nub, and I just grabbed whatever ones I had and put them in, and I didn't label them. So now they're all just like mixed together. So I'm loving it. And I have to say, look at how tall they are. Now, I just mentioned in my last video where I shared the front porch garden how they're like 6 feet tall. This is like 6 feet tall, and I was not expecting it to be this tall. I mean, the seed packet did say 4 to 6 feet tall, so obviously it is possible for it to be sort of 4 to 6 feet tall, but I just did not believe that would ever happen, and lo and behold, it did. So look at how tall it is. Like, you cannot even see the dahlias behind it, but you know what? It's fine. It's all good because it's really pretty. I love celosia this time of year. It looks beautiful in the garden, looks amazing in a vase, and it dries really well, so I'm fine with it. I mean, look at the colors of these, right? And you see, look at those seeds. Here in my Zone 6B garden, celosia reseeds really well. So I'm actually a little concerned that this is gonna drop a lot of seed in these raised beds. I mean, I guess I'm just gonna have to deal with it next year and see what happens, but I think that's a real probability. But you know what? I love it. But I don't think I would plant it here again. I would probably do this on the outside of the beds with florets just because they grew so tall for me. They grew so tall. And I think they would look really good on the outskirts of the bed. So now my snapdragons are starting to bounce back because we're getting cooler temps, and they did really, really well in like late spring, heading into summer. And then once we started getting those scorching temps, they did not love it. You know, it is what it is. What are you gonna do? I had a bunch of snapdragons here. I really went with a lot of peaches, pinks, and purples in the garden. And I really, really, really love them. I love it with, look at that, with the celosia. Isn't that so pretty? Really, really beautiful. So anyway, so they were blooming really well in late spring, and then, you know, got really hot here. And so they don't do well in the summer, but just leave them alone and they'll bounce back. So I've actually been still cutting them down, and now I've got all these like beautiful, you know, they're getting ready to go. Some of them a little more than others, so I got to get out here and do some cutting, but really happy with them overall. All right, we will talk about the dahlias momentarily. Next, we're going to talk about my nasturtiums. So every year I plant nasturtium seeds. Most years they don't take for whatever reason, or like they take and then like a critter gets to them. But this year I sprayed it. I did everything I could to keep it. And really this was a second thought because I had China asters in here, and those China asters, most of them were eaten. I started them all with the winter sowing method, and I think all but one survived. Look at this. Really beautiful, right? Then I've got some zinnias back in here, and they're really, really beautiful. But like I mentioned in my last video, you know, I went a little too light on the color palette in here, and I really like more, you know, darker pinks mixed with lighter pinks. So I think next year I've really got to be more mindful of how I'm planting my zinnias in the raised garden beds, because I really love that mix of bright with light and get a little bit more variation in the pinks. And really right now, what's looking really good are my dahlias. I mean, it took them a while this year, I think because the summer was so hot, but let me just say how gorgeous they are right now. This one is Sweet Suzanne. She's got really pretty light pink petals with a creamy yellow center. This is supposed to be urchin. I think it's mislabeled because urchin should be more magenta and not red. And this just does not look like it to me. And this is the second year in a row this happened. Last year I ordered Shiloh Noel, which I'm going to show you in my garden momentarily. And the grower sent me red flowers. So I don't think I'm ordering from this grower again, because this is the second year in a row I got red flowers. I don't want red flowers. I gotta pop the name of this one on the screen. I don't remember which one it is offhand, but look at how pretty it is. This one is Cream de Cassis. And it's really, really cool too, because it's got these really beautiful petals, but it's the undersides. Look at how dark the hue is in the undersides of these dahlias. That's so cool. I've actually decided I want to preserve these, so I'm going to be cutting a bunch and preserving them in silica gel so I can maintain the shape. And then I think I want to hang them in like some sort of floral art or something in my home. Okay, I need to do some deadheading, so we'll just kind of pass over on that one. I've got Eveline. If you've not grown her before, she's like a white with a little bit of yellow and some purple in the center. Really beautiful, looks really great with pinks and purples. This one over here is called Karma Lagoon. And then I've got another one over here. I think this was mislabeled too. I think I ordered, I don't remember the name, but I don't believe I ordered this color. So I gotta check my receipt. So I can't tell you what the variety is because I really don't know. I've got some straw flowers in here. I should cut them more at this stage than this stage, but I just leave them. I just like how they look. See? Zinnias. They're wrapping it up. They're wrapping it up. I've got some more dahlias over here. This is Creme de Cognac. Really beautiful also. It's like got that honey golden with a little bit of red. Really pretty. You know, it looks more red, but I have to say it's probably more like a magenta. This one's definitely precious metals. So here we've got Labyrinth. Took her a while to bloom this year, but wow, is she beautiful. And then up here, we've got Dark Monarch. And then over on this side, you can see more of Shiloh Noel. Really, really pretty. See the little bit of purple on the outside? Bees are having a field day. They love it. And I've really been making it a point to cut really deep into the plant so I can get longer, taller stems. Has made a huge difference. I do have Dahlia Florel in here. Oh, here she is. Dahlia Florel. And then we've got my favorite, Kogain Fubuki. I grew this for the first time last year. She is spectacular. If you've not tried growing her, highly suggest. You'll love it. Love, 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 love. And this one too, I've been working on trying to get longer stems. So I've been cutting a little bit deeper into the plant. And then I do have Cafe Au Lait. She's starting to bloom. And then we've got Teesbrook Audrey. Isn't that sweet? you guys, thanks so much for joining me in the gardens today. Sorry it was a little noisy with the lawn service going on next door, but hey, I guess timing is everything. I'll see you in the next video. Enjoy a beautiful day.